First off, we have Michael Jackson. The king of pop stated that he had no childhood as he was pushed into the music industry by his father at a very young age, and he was unable to partake in any interests that were outside the Jackson family business. The relationship between Michael and his father was also a reason why the singer converted his house into a private amusement park much later on in life, as he wanted to live life like a child again and recreate his childhood to be more positive. Jackson's father would make him and his siblings do excessive rehearsals with 0 breaks. If his father saw them make even a small mistake, there would be consequences. Michael's dad would reportedly often tell him his nose was too big, and Michael eventually got a nose job years later because of it. Our second celebrity is Meghan Markle. After marrying into the royal family in 2018, Meghan hasn't been shy when discussing the horrible things her new family has done to her. Meghan and Prince Harry accused 2 royal family members of making racist comments about their son Archie. In a talk with Oprah Winfrey, the couple alleged that 2 unnamed members of the royal family had expressed concern about, quote, how dark Prince Archie's skin would be when he was born. She then wrote a private letter to King Charles exposing the names of these racist family members. Also, Meghan said Kate Middleton made her cry over a disagreement about flower girl dresses, despite reports that Meghan actually was the one who made Kate cry. She also said she was silenced by the royal family and directed to never comment on false reports. The idea that she was, quote, protected by the royal family crumbled soon after the marriage began, she said. That was hard to reconcile because it was only once we were married and everything started to really worsen that I came to understand that not only was I not being protected, but that they were willing to lie to protect other members of the family, Meghan said. They weren't willing to tell the truth to protect me and my husband. Harry said when the British tabloids were rudely commenting on Meghan's skin color, nobody from his family tried to help. Not even the Queen. Our next celebrity is Jeanette McCurdy. Known for hit Nickelodeon shows like Sam and Cat and iCarly, Jeanette McCurdy exposed her horrible treatment as a child in her new memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died, and some of these family stories are crazy. When McCurdy was 10 years old, she was cast in the Nickelodeon series iCarly. The show was a massive success, and McCurdy quickly became a household name. However, her fame also came with a price. McCurdy was subjected to intense scrutiny from the media, and she was constantly being judged for her appearance. McCurdy's mother's controlling behavior only worsened as she became more famous. She would often tell McCurdy that she was not good enough and constantly told her to eat less to stay skinny. Jeanette was forced to shower with her mom until age 16. That's crazy. Rapper Eminem was extremely vocal about his disdain for his mother, Deborah R. Nelson Mathers. In songs like Cleaning Out My Closet and Without Me, he alleged that his mother had been violent and addicted to drugs. The lyrics were so vile that Deborah filed a defamation lawsuit against her own son. The case was settled out of court in 2014, and Eminem would later apologize in his song Headlights. Headlights is an apology to his mother for the years of insults and his plea for a united, or at least less dysfunctional, family. The title Headlights is a reference to their last meeting. As she drove away, he became fixated on the headlights of her car as he coped with feelings of overwhelming sadness. He admits to his recklessness with lyrics directed towards his mom in the very first line, not really knowing his words would hurt her that much. In the song, Eminem references a few incidences from their rocky relationship, like getting kicked out of the house on Christmas Eve, the constant fighting, and his younger brother Nathan's removal to foster care. He also expresses regret that he has never let his mother be involved in his children's lives. In the song, he acknowledges that his mother wrongfully endured the brunt of the blame for his tough upbringing and even gives her credit for her efforts to raise him as a single parent. Eminem admits that he remains estranged from his mother to this day. He also states that he cringes when he hears songs like Cleaning Out My Closet on the radio, and he no longer performs it at live shows. Our next celebrity is Macaulay Culkin. He became famous as a child actor for his role as Kevin McAllister in the family comedy Home Alone, for which he was nominated many awards like a Golden Globe Award for Best Act in a Motion Picture Musical or Comedy. But despite the success, Macaulay Culkin had a hard time dealing with the nightmare that was his manager, aka his dad. The pressure his dad placed on him and his demanding daily schedule resulted in Macaulay becoming exasperated and drained, ultimately leading to the young actor's retirement from film acting at age 14. On a further note, Home Alone director Chris Columbus was also frustrated in working with Kit, Macaulay's dad, to the point where he ensued that there were no child actors with the stage parent during any of his later films. To this day, Macaulay and his father are still estranged, with Kit even stating publicly that he, quote, didn't consider Macaulay a son. Wow. Our next celebrity is Doja Cat. Singer of hits like Say So and Paint the Town Red, Doja Cat has become a household name. But recently, she's been in the tabloids for something other than music. Reports recently came out that Doja Cat's brother knocked out her teeth, so claims their mother. According to new legal documents, Doja's mom, Deborah Elizabeth Sawyer, filed for a temporary restraining order against her 30-year-old son, and in her filing, she makes some serious accusations. Doja's mom lists Doja as another person who needs protection from her brother. And that's not all. Doja Cat's mom also alleges that Doja Cat's brother gave Doja cuts and bruises and destroyed and stole some of Doja's property. In the documents, Doja's mother claims he is also verbal towards his famous sister in a very degrading and demeaning manner, and she says he has made Doja feel, quote, unsafe and traumatized. Another celebrity with a very troubled family life involves Ariel Winter of Modern Family. Ariel was legally emancipated from her parents at the age of 17, 3 years after her mom was publicly accused of taking advantage of her physically and emotionally. Court documents obtained by TMZ allege that Crystal, Ariel's mom, had placed Ariel on such strict diets while she was shooting the show Modern Family that workers on set had to, quote, sneak her food. Ariel said herself that, quote, my mother would dress me in the smallest miniskirts, sailor suits, low-cut things, the shortest dresses you have ever seen. People thought I was 24 when I was 12. If there was gonna be a nude scene when I was that age, my mother would have 1000% said yes. Our next celebrity is Miss Paris Hilton. After her parents gave up raising her, believing she was too rebellious of a teen, Paris got woken up in the middle of the night by men in masks who forced her to get in a truck heading to a boarding school for troubled children. She found out later that her parents set the entire thing up. Almost immediately after she arrived, quote, I knew it was going to be worse than anywhere else, says Hilton. The violence she faced, she says, took place on a daily basis. It was supposed to be a school, but classes were not the focus at all, says Hilton. From the moment I woke up until I went to bed, it was all day screaming in my face, yelling at me, continuous torture. The staff would say terrible things, they were constantly making me feel bad about myself and bully me. I think it was their goal to break us down, hitting and strangling us. They wanted to instill fear in the kids, so we'd be too scared to disobey them. 4 of Paris Hilton's former teen classmates also made similar allegations about the school, including that they were often force-fed their medication and held down by restraints as punishment. Our next celebrity on the list is Judy Garland. Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz wasn't always so cheery. On June 10th, 1922, Judy was born, and she was a performer. Judy was born. On June 10th, 1922, Judy was born, and she was a performer from the start. Her first stage performance was at 2.5 years old. Her home life, though, was tumultuous. Her father, Frank, had frequent affairs with young men. In 1926, Judy's family left town to escape scandal and headed to California. Her mother, Ethel, quickly tried to shape her daughter into becoming a Hollywood star. Ethel, a controlling stage mom, was the first person to put young Judy on a diet of medications. In 1939, when Garland was 16, she got her big break as Dorothy Gale in The Wizard of Oz. Originally, Shirley Temple was supposed to play Dorothy, so the studio tried to make Garland look as young as possible, as in she had to lose some weight. The studio put her on a daily diet of chicken soup, 80 cigarettes a day, and diet pills. Her waist was corseted and her nose affixed with prosthetics. Speaking of Shirley Temple, she was another child star with a horrible story. Her mom, who pressured her into taking rigorous dance classes from the age of 3, never intervened when issues occurred. Fans would also claim that her famous trademark blonde curls were a wig, so she would often get her hair yanked and pulled on by strangers trying to prove the rumor true. In reality, her ringlet curls were maintained by a torturous nightly process and a weekly vinegar soak that would burn and sting her eyes. It was because of this that Temple found herself wishing that she wore a wig. When she grew up, she quickly married a man named John Ager, and reports of his drinking and mistreatment of America's favorite actress angered the public, and eventually she divorced him. The issues with John were a combination of being a heavy drinker, fame, and also the fact that he resented being referred to as Mr. Shirley Temple. Shirley finally quit the acting industry when she was 22 years old, as she felt her time had come. First off, Miss Britney Spears. On February 16, 2007, the Gimme More singer infamously shaved her head. Days later, she shocked the world by furiously attacking a paparazzo's car with an umbrella. The following July, the pop star offered up a bizarre explanation for her violent behavior. "I was preparing my character for a role in a movie where the husband never plays his part, so they switch places accidentally," she wrote on her website. "I take all my roles very seriously and got a little carried away. Unfortunately, I didn't get the part." But in her 2023 memoir, her opinion on the incident changed. She says, "I'd been eyeballed so much growing up, I'd been looked up and down, I had people telling me what they thought of my body since I was a teenager. Shaving my head and acting out were ways of pushing back," Spears adds in the book. After Britney was put in a court-ordered conservatorship in 2008, granting her father and a lawyer control over all her financial and personal affairs, she says she was forbidden from keeping the new shaved look. "Under the conservatorship, I was made to understand that those days were now over," she writes. "I had to grow my hair out and get back into shape. I had to go to bed early and take whatever medication they told me to take." Our next celebrity meltdown involves Nothing Compares to You singer Sinead O'Connor. Sinead was performing on SNL when a brief moment destroyed her entire career. On October 3rd, 1992, O'Connor appeared on SNL to promote her new album, Am I Not Your Girl? For the second song of the evening, O'Connor had chosen to perform an a cappella version of Bob Marley's song War. Throughout the performance, she stared intently into the camera, and as she sang the final line, "We have confidence in the victory of good over evil," O'Connor held a photograph of the Pope directly in front of the camera, ripped it up, saying, "Fight the real enemy," before throwing the pieces to the floor. The SNL producers were not aware of O'Connor's plan. During the dress rehearsal, she had held up a picture of a child. Everybody at SNL apparently froze after the live performance, unsure how to react, and that the music producer Liz Welch went from jubilation to tears. The executive producer Lorne Michaels said the air went out of the studio and that he ordered that the applause sign should not be used. The audience remained silent, and O'Connor returned to her dressing room, where somebody found her talking to herself, quote, doing something between poetry and chanting. Our next celebrity meltdown involves Nicki Minaj and Mariah Carey. On an episode of American Idol, the former show judges got into a curse word-filled fight. Minaj criticized Carey for being too harsh on a contestant, which the Vision of Love singer responded by saying, "I'm sorry, it's just that that's what I do, Nicki." The Anaconda rapper immediately fired back. "Oh, you're right. I'm sorry I can't help her," she said, tossing her seat behind her. "Maybe I should just get off the effing panel. Let me get off the panel." After leaving the room, Nicki was overheard shouting, "Shut the F up! Finish the show, I'm done." But that's not the only on-air meltdown Nicki Minaj has had. When accepting her VMA award for Best Music Video, Nicki made a dig at fellow performer Miley Cyrus. While thanking her pastor and other fans, Nicki said, "Back to this B-word who had a lot to say about me the other day in the press. Miley, what's good?" Speaking of on-air meltdowns, Hugh Grant had some rude things to say to Ellen while on her talk show. After she complimented her guest, calling him fantastic, smart, and all those things, Grant responded responded back by saying, "I wish I thought that about you." He also had some rude things to say about Julia Roberts while on the Oprah show. Very big mouthed. Literally, physically, she has a very big mouth. When I was kissing her, I was aware of a faint echo. Again, they would try to get Grant back on track during the interview, mentioning that Julia Roberts was a really good person, in which Grant responded by saying, "I wouldn't go that far." Hugh Grant would go on to admit that this current relationship with Roberts is not on the best of terms because of past comments. "I've probably made too many jokes about the size of her mouth. She might hate me by now." Michael Jackson seemed to have a meltdown after his infamous baby dangling incident. If you don't know what I'm talking about, here is the story. In 2002, Michael Jackson visited Berlin to accept an award for his philanthropic work on behalf of children, a Lifetime Bambi Entertainment Award. During his stay, the pop star dangled his 9-month-old son, nicknamed Blanket because his face was covered with a towel, over the balcony of the hotel he was staying in. It seemed that what the king of pop was trying to do was show his baby to the fans that had gathered outside his hotel, but the public's response was obviously completely opposite from what Jackson had expected. As soon as photos and videos of the incident were released to the public, the media started criticizing Michael's parenting skills and reckless behavior. Ringo Starr, a former member of the Beatles, got in a serious altercation with interviewer Sherry Hewson. During a live event, she said, "He just sat down, said, 'Okay then girls, what are we doing here? Shall we just get Paul McCartney out of the way?'" This was live, by the way. Anyway, he carries on. "Let's get Paul McCartney out the way." "You want me to talk about Paul McCartney?" I said. "Well, no, you're here." And he said, "No, you don't. You want to talk about Paul McCartney." She continued. He was so angry. It was just so weird. I thought, why? Why? It was just a really weird thing. And then he said to the audience, "Can I tell you all, if anyone wants an autograph, cannot have one, because I don't do things like that." At the end of it, one of the producers came up with one of her little children who was only 4 years old and said that she knew he didn't do autographs, but told him that her daughter was only 4 and she really loves the Beatles. He just stared and said, "Really?" And then he said, "Did you not hear what I just said? I don't sign autographs." Yikes. David Letterman, former host of the David Letterman Show, has made some really weird on-screen moments while interviewing celebrities, and some of these stories are really hard to believe. When he was interviewing Madonna, he stopped the interview and asked her, "Why don't you go and kiss the guy in the audience?" Shocked, she said, "Why are you so obsessed with my love life?" He responded by saying, "Go kiss the guy in the audience. It would knock him out." She responded, "I can't. I've never succumbed to peer pressure." Interviewing Jennifer Lopez, he made the cameraman zoom into a close-up of her chest while saying, "That's pretty good. That's pretty darn good." Ew. David Letterman seems quite rude, but perhaps the rudest interview story has to go to Jesse Eisenberg. While promoting his new movie Now You See Me, the actor seemed to have a meltdown while in an interview, being extremely rude to the interviewer. Out of nowhere, Jesse brought up the often maligned comedian Carrot Top. Before long, it became clear that Eisenberg only brought up Carrot Top so he could mock the interviewer, whose name was Puga, her abilities as an interviewer. "Do you know the comedian Carrot Top? Well, you're like the Carrot Top of interviewers." "Yeah, it's a good thing. Don't cry now. Cry after the interview is over, because otherwise I'll look like I'm responsible for it." Yikes. After this back and forth conversation, Eisenberg half-heartedly performed a magic trick. Puga then asked Eisenberg if he could say her name to the camera. In response, Eisenberg asked Puga to explain what his motivation for saying her name was, like he was performing an acting exercise. When Puga asked Eisenberg to say her name like he was trying to find her in a crowded place, he quietly said her name. Puga then remarked that she would never be able to hear him in a club, and his explanation for why he was being quiet seemed very harsh. He said, "The thing is, I actually didn't want to find you. I actually was hoping to stay alone." After the interview was done, the interviewer said she went behind the curtain and cried. Shia LaBeouf, former Disney star known for his troubled past, turned heads when he wore a paper bag saying, "I am not famous anymore," to a red carpet premiere for his new movie. Just hours before the premiere, LaBeouf found himself sat with a panel in front of a room full of journalists as well as his co-stars. When asked about his decision to star in a movie with so many love scenes, he bent low over the microphone and replied, "When the seagulls follow the trawler, it's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much. He then got up, pushed the mic away, and stormed out of the conference, leaving the audience and his fellow panelists mystified. What does that even mean? Our final celebrity meltdown involves Miss Ariana Grande. In 2015, Ariana went with friends to a donut shop to grab a sweet treat. Everything was looking good until the employee at the donut shop supposedly turned around behind the counter, and while he wasn't looking, Ariana licked some of the donuts still for sale while saying, "I hate America," and later calling the donuts disgusting. The security footage of the incident went mega viral online, and Ariana quickly went to Twitter to apologize, saying, "Seeing a video of yourself behaving poorly that you have no idea was taken is such a rude awakening that you don't know what to do. I was so disgusted with myself." She said, "I'm not here to make any excuses or to justify my behavior because I can't. I'm just here to apologize." Number 1, we have Jared Leto. Leto is an actor known to be method. And if you don't know what method acting means, it is a technique or type of acting in which an actor aspires to encourage sincere and emotionally expressive performances by fully inhabiting the role of the character. So basically, aka never breaking character on or off set. Jared Leto stayed completely in character as the Joker and sent his castmates disturbing gifts, and his co-stars had some things to say about it. After he sent Viola Davis a box of bullets, she almost had her pepper spray out. She told E! News, "It was a little worrisome, it made you a little bit nervous, and I'm pretty tough. You know, I got into a few fights when I was growing up, but it scared me a little bit." But it doesn't stop there. Viola also said Jared introduced himself to the cast by sending them a dead pig and sent Margot Robbie, who is playing Harley Quinn, a black rat in a box in which Margot kept as a pet. Next on the list we have Jennifer Aniston. Known as the good girl in Hollywood, Jennifer Aniston seems like she would not hurt a fly. Well, that all changed when Jay Moore, her co-star in 1997's Picture Perfect, said that his most awkward interaction with a female co-star was, quote, being on the set of a movie where the leading woman was unhappy with his presence and made it clear from day one. Although he never named any names, this was the only movie that fit the description. Maybe he's too scared Aniston's legal team will get involved if he speaks up. He also said, "I hadn't done many movies, and even though they screen tested some pretty famous guys, I somehow sneaked into the leading role." The actress said, "No way, you've got to be kidding me," loudly between takes to other actors on set. "I would literally go to my mom's house and cry." Next up, we have Bill Murray. Bill has been in the news for a while now for accusations made against him, but this particular accusation is from the year 2000, while Bill was filming Charlie's Angels. His co-star Lucy Liu had some negative things to say about him, telling media outlets that Bill hurled insults at her while rehearsing a scene. While Liu didn't specify what Murray said to her during rehearsal, she confirmed reports that the actor started, quote, hurling insults at me after learning of new scene rewrites. In the moment, the actress had difficulty processing what was happening. I was like, wow, he seems like he's looking straight at me. I couldn't believe that his comments could be towards me, because what do I have to do with anything majorly important at the time? I say, "I'm sorry, are you talking to me?" And clearly he was, because then it started to become a one-on-one communication. From Liu's perspective, some of the language Murray used was, quote, inexcusable and unacceptable. She therefore decided to speak up in spite of the fact that she was one of the lesser known actors on set. "I stood up for myself and I do not regret it," she said, "because no matter how low on the totem pole you may be or wherever you came from, there's no need to condescend or to put other people down." Next up, we have Miss Jennifer Lopez. Jane Fonda called out her monster-in-law co-star Jennifer Lopez for injuring her on set. On the Drew Barrymore show, she said, "The thing that comes to mind right away is that we have a slapping scene. I slap her, she slaps me. Jennifer, as per Jennifer, she had this enormous diamond ring. When she slapped me, it cut open across my eyebrow. And you know, she's never apologized," she concluded. But Jane Fonda isn't the only one who has some things to say about J-Lo. Last year, a viral TikTok trend where people told their J-Lo horror stories went viral, and some of the stories are crazy. One user said, I served at a restaurant where J-Lo and Ben Affleck were eating. At the end of the meal, Ben put a $100 bill down as a tip for the waitress. As Jennifer was just about to leave, she grabbed the $100 bill and replaced it with $5. Yikes. Next up, we have Alyssa Milano. Alyssa Milano has been exposed by her Charmed co-star Rose McGowan for being toxic on set. During a Twitter spat with her former Charmed co-star, she tweeted, "You threw a fit in front of the crew, yelling, 'They don't pay me enough to do this.' Appalling behavior on the daily. I cried every time we got renewed because you made that set toxic AF." She also shared an interview clip where she told Nightline, "I don't like Alyssa because I think she's a lie." Responding in a statement to E! News, Alyssa Milano said, hurt people, commenting any further does not align with my wellness plan. Next up, we have Gene Kelly. Gene is one of the most famous actors and dancers from the 1950s, and his co-star of Singing in the Rain had some things to say about him. In her 2013 memoir, Unsinkable, Debbie Reynolds wrote that her Singing in the Rain co-star / director Gene Kelly was a quote, cruel taskmaster. She said, "He came to rehearsals and criticized everything I did and never gave me a word of encouragement." She also alleged that he made unwanted advances towards her during their first kiss scene, writing, "The camera closed in, Gene took me tightly in his arms and shoved his tongue down my throat. Ew, what was that?" I screeched. Breaking free of his grasp and spitting, I ran around frantic, yelling for some Coca-Cola to cleanse my mouth. It was the early 1950s and I was an innocent kid who had never been French kissed before. I was stunned that this 39-year-old man would do this to me. Gene reportedly once said, "I wasn't very nice to Debbie. I'm surprised she still speaks to me." Next up, we have Lea Michele. The Glee star has been in the news lately for her apparent horrible behavior on set and offset. Replying to a tweet Lea Michele made about the Black Lives Matter movement, Glee co-star Samantha Marie Ware wrote, "Remember when you made my first television gig a living hell? Cause I'll never forget. I believe you told everybody that if you had the opportunity, you would poo in my wig. Amongst other traumatic microaggressions that made me question a career in Hollywood." Another co-star, Heather Morris, also had some things to say on Twitter. Was she unpleasant to work with? Very much so. For Lea to treat others with the disrespect that she did for as long as she did, I believe she should be called out. And finally, Dabier Snell, who appeared on Glee in 2014, also recounted rude behavior from Lea Michele on set. He tweeted, "Girl, you wouldn't let me sit at the table with the other cast members because I didn't belong there. F you, Lea," in all caps. Our next celebrity is Jamie Lynn Spears. Britney's little sister seems to have caused some trouble on the set of Nickelodeon's Zoey 101. Alexa Nicholas opened up in 2019 about Jamie Lynn Spears and other Zoey 101 cast members allegedly bullying her on the set of the teen show. Nicholas was notably written off the show after season 2. In addition to claims of bullying tactics like exclusion and mocking, Nicholas also revealed in 2022 that she was once lured into a room with Jamie Lynn and her sister Britney Spears under false pretenses, deliberately separated from her mother. Britney Spears reportedly screamed at Nicholas and threatened her future in Hollywood. Nicholas revealed that Britney has apologized since and called her an amazing person, noting the stress 8 months pregnant Britney was under at the time and saying that she felt Britney had been manipulated by her sister Jamie Lynn. After Nicholas's interview, Britney publicly apologized, writing on Twitter that Jamie Lynn had told her she was being bullied and that my sister was literally like my daughter growing up, so I apologize for my ignorance for yelling at you when I obviously had no idea what was really going on. Kiefer Sutherland is the next celebrity on our list, and he has some serious allegations made against him. Let's get into it. After joining the show 24, Freddie Prinze Jr. was vocal about how much he disliked the show's lead actor, and really, his entire time on the program. "I did 24, and it was terrible. I hated every moment of it," he told ABC News. Kiefer was the most unprofessional dude in the entire world. "That's not me talking trash. I'd say it to his face. I think everybody that's worked with him has said that." Prinze also took a break from acting after his stint on 24, saying that the experience made him want to, quote, quit the business. Rebel Wilson recently opened up about, quote, awful and disgusting advances from a male co-star, though she didn't name who. He called me into a room and pulled down his pants, she revealed, saying the co-star then asked her to perform a very vulnerable act. Afraid of retaliation and wanting to be professional, Wilson stayed on the project, though she said, definitely amongst industry circles, I made sure people knew what happened. She had also separately revealed that a male co-star in a position of power asked me to go into a room with him, all whilst his male friends tried to film the incident on their iPhones and laughed. I repeatedly said no and eventually got out of the room. Jim Carrey, one of the biggest and highest paid actors of our time, has shared his thoughts on Hollywood since retiring from the spotlight. After the Chris Rock Will Smith Oscars slap incident, Carrey shared his opinions on the standing ovation Will Smith received when winning an Oscar later that night. Hollywood is just spineless, and it really felt like it was a clear indication that we aren't the cool club anymore. Carrey went on to say that Smith should have been escorted from the Dolby Theater after slapping Rock for making an insensitive joke about his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. In March 2022, Carrey announced to Access Hollywood that he was probably retiring from acting. Well, I'm retiring. Yeah, probably. I'm being fairly serious, he shared. It depends. If the Angels bring some sort of script that's written in gold ink that says to me that it's going to be really important for people to see, I might continue down the road, but I'm taking a break. Carrey added, I feel like, and this is something you might never hear another celebrity say as long as time exists, I have enough. I've done enough. I am enough. Our second celebrity is Demi Lovato. Demi Lovato starred in many Disney Channel movies and shows like Camp Rock, Princess Protection Program, and Sunny with a Chance. But on a podcast, Lovato shares she, as well as many of her co-stars, were subjected to harsh treatment and multiple strict rules and regulations while working for the company. She said, you can't be seen at a party with a red cup in your hand because it looks like you're drinking. There was this website called Ocean Up that would take all scandalous things that were happening to Disney actors and put it on there, so we lived in fear of that website. I didn't have food in my hotel room, they wouldn't let me eat the snacks in the mini bar. Then my security walked by my room and was made aware that they had barricaded me into my hotel room. They put furniture outside my door so that I couldn't get out and sneak out and eat if I wanted to. It was that level of controlling when it came to my food, which just made my eating troubles worse. She also stated that she felt that she was practically taking care of her own family. At a certain point, I was paying for the roof over my whole family's head, and my dad had quit his job to become my manager, so his income was coming right from me. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and there was just that pressure of I'm paying for everything and like I need to keep going because if things start to disappear, so does the finances. Our next celeb on the list is Isla Fisher. The actress nearly drowned while filming a scene in Now You See Me. Fisher discussed what went wrong with the stunt, and it is horrifying. I was in a tank of water. My character is submerged in a tank, and piranhas are dropped on her head, she says. And whilst we were there, we shot it over 3.5 days. Even though I had a quick release magnetic thing on my handcuffs, the chain that went between my ankles and my wrists was not able to be broken, and it got stuck underneath the slat and I was trapped. The actor also discussed the kill switch in the tank. There was a quick release switch that could have emptied the tank of water in 70 seconds. However, as a result of being tangled, Fisher was unable to reach for the switch. I was very scared, and I was banging and saying, set me free! But everybody just thought I was doing fabulous acting. They thought I was being Meryl Streep in that tank. Actually, I was drowning. I guess Hollywood really wanted that good take. Our next celebrity is model Miranda V. The modeling world seems harmless, but darkness looms. Miranda accused Gigi and Bella Hadid's father of inappropriate physical behavior in a lengthy Instagram post in February 2018. Thank you, Kate Upton. It is time people like Paul Marciano and Mohammed Hadid get exposed for who they really are. I met with Paul at his guest headquarters. That's actually an apartment. I thought it was a professional meeting, but it was just me, him, and champagne where he inappropriately touched me in an apartment. All to get a test shoot for guests. Former Disney Child star Allison Stoner exposes Hollywood with her new podcast, and some of the claims are alarming. Allison said, "I lost the ability to relate to non-famous experiences after the age of 8. Imagine on your 8th birthday you could never walk outside again without being stopped, asked for photos, or followed, unless you wore a disguise or brought security with you." Allison also mentioned the horror when they had to kiss both Dylan Sprouse and Cole Sprouse for an episode of The Sweet Life. The experience left them with conflicted feelings. Your character may have some arc or transformation that isn't evident upon reading the script of the first episode, Stoner explained. So writers and executives might decide to make your character do anything on the next episode, and it's assumed that you're gonna agree to whatever is scripted. My first kiss, and several of the times I experienced kissing, all happened on camera. On camera. Was I ready for that? No, I felt young and uncomfortable, Stoner said, but they were already under contract and didn't want to appear difficult. Another celeb that has exposed Hollywood is Selena Gomez. The superstar, who boasts 430 million followers on Instagram, often speaks about the downside of being famous, telling Interview magazine in 2020 that everything she does causes a reaction, saying, "The sad part is, I don't remember a time when that wasn't the case. What has kept me afloat is that I know eventually it'll be somebody else, and I don't mean that in a negative way," she said, adding that fame has still allowed her to talk about things that are important to her. "A huge part of why I have a platform is to help people. That's why I think I'm okay with the magnitude. I mean, I'm not really okay with it, but I'm gonna say that I am because it's worth it." Perhaps the celebrity with the most famous Hollywood horror story is Miss Britney Spears. In 2008, Jamie Spears, her dad, was granted the conservatorship after Britney reportedly struggled with mental health issues and was hospitalized. After Britney was released, a Los Angeles court made the conservatorship permanent, giving her father power over all her finances and her medical decisions. Although Britney was an adult at the time, she was treated like a prisoner and says she was not allowed to leave her house unless granted permission. Her father was making more money than her because he was taking a huge percentage of her earnings and not telling her. Wow, what a father he is. The greed of Hollywood doesn't stop there though. Scientology, a popular organization in Hollywood, has been known to take insane amounts of money from its members, claiming the payments will get them into a higher level in the afterlife. Actress Leah Remini, a former Scientologist, exposes the organization for the way they ruined her life after she left. The actress, who was brought into the church as an 8-year-old after her mother converted to the religion, slammed the organization for its alleged scare tactics and seemingly helping certain members avoid jail for various horrible crimes. Leah met famous Scientologist/actor Tom Cruise while still in the organization, but had to pay $1 million to do so, which she paid. After leaving, Leah sued the organization for alleged stalking and hacking. She states she reportedly had cars chasing her and following her every single day, and had hackers hack into her bank account and steal thousands of dollars, all because she left the organization. Yikes. Not all Hollywood drama comes from Hollywood though. And this was the case for Kim Kardashian in Paris. In October 2016, while on a work trip to Paris, Kardashian was robbed at 3 a.m. while alone in her hotel. She was tied up and blindfolded while men in masks raided the hotel room for money. In the end, $10 million worth of jewelry was stolen, as well as 2 cell phones. Kim's sisters and bodyguards were at the club while everything took place, and Kim decided to stay home because she was tired. Boy, was that a life-changing mistake. Kim recalled the fear that she felt during a conversation with the concierge, who was also held hostage in that moment. She says to the concierge, "I'm like, what is happening? Are we gonna die? Just tell them I have children. I have babies. I have a husband. I have a family. Like, I have to get home. Tell them, take anything you want." 2 French judges later charged 12 people in relation to that robbery. Kardashian, who shares 4 kids with ex-Kanye West, has said that she almost lost herself in the year following the crime. Explaining on the Alec Baldwin show in 2018, "I was never depressed, but I wasn't motivated to get up and work like I used to. It shook me. However, the reality star also shared that she has learned to feel grateful for the experience in a way. There was a lot of me that measured who I was by how much I had. I thought, oh, I'm worth so much, she noted. That needed to change in me. Our final celebrity of the day is Miley Cyrus. Although Hannah Montana was a family-friendly show, starring in it gave Miley an identity crisis, she says. I had gone from being a character almost as often as I was myself. And actually, the concept of the show is that when you're this character, when you have this alter ego, you're valuable. You've got millions of fans, you're the biggest star in the world, and then the concept was that when I looked like myself, when I didn't have the wig on anymore, nobody cared about me. I wasn't a star anymore. So that was drilled into my head, Cyrus explained. I really had to break that, and I think that's maybe why I almost created a characterized version of myself at times, in the way of being aware of how other people see me. I never created a character where it wasn't me, but I was aware of how people saw me, and I maybe played into it a little bit, Cyrus continued. Speaking of her persona after, Cyrus has also talked about how the costumes and makeup took their toll on her, likely causing some body dysmorphia. I'm this fragile little girl playing a 16-year-old in a wig and a ton of makeup. It was like toddlers and tiaras. She said that being made to look like somebody she wasn't and made pretty for so many years meant that when it ended, she didn't know who she was. First on the list, we have comedian Amy Schumer. Perhaps the most hated comedian in the entire world, Amy Schumer has gone through her fair share of hate, including multiple viral YouTube videos with titles such as "Watching Amy Schumer Until I Laugh," where the video lasts almost an hour. Reasons behind the hating of Amy Schumer include allegations of her stealing jokes, and the proof is pretty insane. One user on Reddit pitched their opinion on the comedian, saying, "I really liked her on Inside Amy Schumer, her show, so I went and got tickets to one of her comedy shows. She was an hour late to the show. After some time, the crowd got restless, so they sent some poor intern or something to fill in the time to tell some jokes. Everybody booed him. When Amy did the show, she showed up drunk, did about 40 minutes of terrible jokes, which just basically involved insulting the audience, and it was over. It was the worst show I've ever been to. Hated her ever since." Yikes. Alrighty, next on the list is Ellen DeGeneres. In 2020, Ellen got viciously cancelled and has never recovered from it. But even before that, Ellen was disliked by many viewers by being too upfront with celebrities in her interviews. These incidents include Ellen forcing Mariah Carey to reveal that she is pregnant by forcing champagne on her on live television. Mariah has had trouble with pregnancy in the past and was not ready to reveal that she was pregnant, but was forced into it. This pregnancy also ended in another miscarriage. Another incident includes Ellen shaming Dakota Johnson for not inviting her to her birthday party, and then Dakota revealing that Ellen was invited and she stood her up. These are horrible, but in 2020, even more drama came forward. It was revealed that senior producers at The Ellen Show fostered a very toxic workplace full of racism, intimidation, and fear going back years. It was reported that lower-level employees were not allowed to make eye contact with Ellen and were never allowed to speak to her directly. Wow. Other employees claimed they were fired after taking medical leave or days to attend family funerals. Transgender YouTuber Nikki Tutorials stated she wasn't allowed to use the restrooms backstage at The Ellen Show and had to use a special accessible washroom far away. Next on the list is another famous talk show host you guys might know, James Corden. Some of the allegations against James include him reportedly screaming at staff at the Balthazar restaurant in New York because his wife received an egg yolk omelet with egg whites in it. He was banned from the restaurant, and the owner claims he is the most abusive customer ever. In 2010, a moment of genuine drama unfolded at the Glamour Awards ceremony as James clashed with X-Men star Patrick Stewart on stage. This is drama. As he walked up on stage, Patrick Stewart told Corden to get his hands out of his pockets and accused him of looking around as if you would rather be anywhere in the world but here. He says, "Oh, you couldn't be more wrong, sir. You couldn't be more wrong, James responded. Genuinely, and if it looked like that, I'm so sorry, but when you come up and present an award, just get on with it. Patrick kept the argument going, making fun of Corden's weight. From where I was, I could see your belly, and that was from right at the back of the room. As the actor paused, James Corden hit back, I'm waiting for the punchline. Go on. No, seriously, go on. Now, go on. You could see my belly, but we can all see you dying right now, James continued, saying, can we get a taxi really quickly, please? There's an old man going home. Yikes. Next, we have another James, not James Corden this time, but YouTuber James Charles. James has gone through a ton of controversies throughout his social media career. In 2018, Charles was experiencing a backlash for his tweet about Ebola, where he tweeted, I can't believe we're going to Africa today. OMG, what if we get Ebola? In 2021, a 16-year-old boy claimed Charles had pressured him into exchanging photos through the Snapchat app. Charles spoke out against the allegations and claimed he had been unaware of the boy's age at the time of the interaction. But 3 more males came forward to share their negative Snapchat experiences with James, including a 17-year-old male that states James continued flirting with him after finding out his age. In the end, multiple media reports indicated that at least 15 boys and men had accused James Charles of inappropriate behavior. But perhaps the biggest controversy James has been involved in is his 2019 feud with fellow YouTuber Tati Westbrook. Tati says one reason she no longer wants to associate with James is because he's violently manipulative. Oh my god, you tried to trick a straight man into thinking he's gay yet again, and somehow you're the victim. It's really disgusting to manipulate somebody's sexuality, especially when they're emerging into adulthood and don't quite have everything figured out, she says, recalling a phone call of theirs where he shared details. She also says he used his fame and money to threaten, ruin, and embarrass men who didn't reciprocate his advances. Our next most hated celeb is Amber Heard. Now, we all know Amber has been in the media over the last few years for some pretty bad stuff. The infamous Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial of 2022 included some troubling details about Amber. He said she would also have affairs frequently with male celebrities such as James Franco and her ex Elon Musk. In 2020, phone recordings were released in which Amber admitted to hitting Johnny Depp. Amber is heard saying, I'm sorry that I didn't hit you across the face in a proper slap, but I was hitting you. It was not punching you, babe. You're not punched. I don't know what the motion of my actual hand was, but you're fine. I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was just hitting you. Meanwhile, Depp said in the recording, I left last night. Honestly, I swear to you, because I just couldn't take the idea of more physicality. Because had we continued it, it would have gotten bad. And baby, I told you this once. I'm scared to death. We are a crime scene right now, Depp continued. Amber replied, I can't promise you I won't get physical again. God, I sometimes get so mad I lose it. Let's just say after all this came to light, Amber is not the most liked celeb currently. The next celebrity is Chrissy Teigen, married to John Legend. Chrissy Teigen has had her fair share of controversies, mainly coming from Twitter. In 2014, Ariana Grande rose to fame, and Chrissy seemed jealous of her newfound success, randomly posting to Twitter one day, I love your cat ear headband. It alerts me to immediately hate you. Well, that's random, Chrissy. And it's because of these random outbursts that people dislike her and continue to. Our next hated celebrity is Elon Musk. Elon is disliked by the public for the following reasons. He's made sexist and racist comments and reportedly abandoned his child after they came out as transgender. Also, his alleged poor treatment of his workers and his purchase of Twitter and his subsequent unbanning of many controversial people are just a few more reasons why people hate Elon Musk. Next on the list we have Kanye West. Kanye has been hated by the public for a really long time. Do you guys remember the Taylor Swift incident? If you don't, let me give you a quick refresh. At the 2009 VMAs, Taylor won Best Pop Music Video. While she was on stage accepting the award, Kanye leaped on stage taking the mic from Swift and saying, Beyonce deserved the award, not her. Oh, yikes. Our next hated celeb on the list is Kanye's ex-wife, Kim Kardashian. Kim has been in a string of controversies her entire career, and many argue this is how she stays relevant. One of Kim's biggest controversies controversies also involved Taylor Swift. After Kanye West's song Famous came out, Swift publicly stated she had no clue about the song and was angry because the song had some pretty crude things to say about her. But then Kim Kardashian releases several video clips of a phone conversation between West and Swift in which he appears to get her support for the provocative lyrics. Kim K called Taylor a liar, and there a feud began. Our final celebrity on the list is Ariana Grande. Ariana has been in the news lately for her cheating scandal with Ethan Slater, but this is not the first time Ariana has come under fire for cheating. The late Naya Rivera, the star of Glee, had some tea to spill in her book. Ariana began dating Naya's ex-fiance Big Sean not too long after they called off their wedding plans in 2014. According to Naya, all was not well in their relationship. She and Big Sean had been fighting frequently while he was on the road. That's not the most fun thing to go through, but it is about to get even more dramatic. According to Refinery 29, one chapter in the book contains the following quote: "On the day that he was back in LA, he said he didn't want to see me, but since she had a key, she let herself into his house. I walk in, go downstairs, and guess what little girl is sitting cross-legged on the couch listening to music. It rhymes with Samariana Shamande."
Cameron, a child prodigy, made his Hollywood debut at an early age, starring in various TV shows and films. Renowned for his 7-season portrayal of Mike Seaver on the sitcom Growing Pains, he also made notable appearances in films like Father Like Son and Listen to Me. However, Cameron today is less recognized for his acting credentials and is more associated with his extreme Christian ideologies. His persistent public discussions about his religious beliefs, including his views on homosexuality, have largely led to his exclusion from Hollywood. Irrespective of whether he's participating in TV interviews or using social media, Cameron persistently shares his religious beliefs and views. Kirk's early success in Hollywood was undeniable, with his talent and charisma making him a household name at a young age. However, as he grew older, his focus shifted from acting to spreading his religious beliefs. And despite the backlash and criticism, Cameron remains steadfast in sharing his faith with others. But Cameron's commitment to his religious beliefs has not only affected his career in Hollywood, but also his personal relationships. He's married to actress Chelsea Noble, who shares similar beliefs as him, and they have 6 children together. Next up, Brendan Fraser, recognized for his roles in late 90s and early 2000s blockbusters like Bedazzled and The Mummy. Brendan experienced a significant decrease in his acting roles as the 2000s progressed. Fraser attributes this downturn in his career in part to a disturbing encounter with Philip Burke, the former president of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. He alleges that Burke him at the Beverly Hills Hotel in 2003, and as a result of his defiance, the HFPA has seldom invited him to the Golden Globes since the incident. Burke disputes Fraser's narrative, insisting in his 2014 memoir that his interaction with Fraser was merely a wistful pinch on the behind. While Fraser acknowledges there may be other factors contributing to his diminished workload, he strongly believes his experience with Burke played a significant role. In recent years, the #MeToo movement has brought attention to the pervasive issue of sin Hollywood. Fraser's story is just one example of many where a powerful individual in the entertainment industry has used their position to exploit someone. Next, Roseanne Barr, the actress and comedian known for her staunch support of Donald Trump's presidency, has often been a contentious figure in Hollywood. However, in May 2018, Barr's typically fiery Twitter commentary crossed a line when she posted a racially offensive tweet about Valerie Jarrett, a senior advisor to former President Barack Obama. Barr soon deleted the tweet and offered an apology, but the damage was done. ABC responded swiftly by canceling the Roseanne reboot on the very same day. The president of the company tagged her comments as abhorrent, repugnant, and inconsistent with our values. Up next, Tippi Hedren, who embarked on her journey in the fashion industry as a model in her early 20s, but it was the iconic filmmaker Alfred Hitchcock who spotted her potential and launched her into the Hollywood limelight. Hedren's talent shone through in 2 of Hitchcock's captivating creations, the spine-chilling thriller The Birds and the intriguing psychological drama Marnie. However, the duo's professional rapport soured when Hitchcock allegedly crossed professional boundaries with unwelcome sexual advances. After Hedren decisively rejected Hitchcock and declared Marnie their final project together, a furious Hitchcock vowed to sabotage her career. He kept her tied to a contract that barred her from working for 2 years before begrudgingly selling it in 1966. Nevertheless, Hedren's tenacity saw her acting career bounce back, and she later found her voice as a dedicated advocate for animal rights. Up next, Monique, renowned comedian and actor known as Monique Angela Hicks in her daily life. First rose to fame through her hilarious stand-up shows and her unforgettable role as Nicole Nikki Parker in the popular UPN series The Parkers from 1999 to 2004, but it was in 2009 when she portrayed an abusive mother in Lee Daniels' film Precious that she truly took the limelight. Her stunning performance earned her an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, setting a new pinnacle in her career. Yet, Monique's journey took an unexpected turn after her Precious triumph. In a 2015 interview with The Hollywood Reporter, she revealed that her film and TV roles had dwindled significantly. She pointed to her stance during the 2010 Oscar campaign for Precious as the reason behind her decline. She even mentioned a phone call with Lee Daniels, the director of Precious, who allegedly told her that Hollywood had excluded her for not playing by their rules. Daniels later commented on Monique's allegations, vaguely confirming her statements by saying her demands through Precious were not always in line with the campaign, which caused a rift between her and the Hollywood community. Now let's talk about an actor who's been a staple in Hollywood for many years. Yes, we're discussing Isaiah Washington. With numerous notable television and movie roles under his belt, he's no stranger to the limelight, but the role that really brought him into the spotlight was his portrayal of Preston Burke in the hit show Grey's Anatomy. However, his career took a turn for the worse after he used a homophobic slur towards a fellow cast member. The incident not only led to the exit from the show, but also put him on Hollywood's blacklist. The situation was further exacerbated when he repeated the slur following a Golden Globe win for the show. Today, while he periodically appears in roles, his career never really regained the momentum it once had. For many, this incident defined Washington's career and overshadowed his previous successes. However, it also opened up a conversation about the problem of homophobia in Hollywood and the lack of consequences for those who perpetuate it. Since then, Washington has publicly apologized for his actions and has been an advocate for LGBTQ+ rights. Despite making a stellar comeback as a director with Hacksaw Ridge in 2016, Mel Gibson continues to remain largely ostracized from Hollywood. It's unlikely we'll witness much of his acting prowess in the future. Gibson, who enjoyed immense popularity and success as an actor and director during the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, saw his career irreparably tarnished due to a series of highly publicized meltdowns. One of the most damaging incidents involved an anti-Semitic tirade during a DUI arrest, which was widely reported and condemned globally. More than a decade has passed since the incident, and while some fans have extended their forgiveness, a significant portion can't seem to shake off the recollection of his controversial actions and words. Despite his past controversies, Mel Gibson has not completely disappeared from the industry. In 2019, he directed and co-wrote the critically acclaimed film Hacksaw Ridge, which received multiple nominations at major award ceremonies, including the Academy Awards. However, it's clear that the public perception of Gibson has greatly shifted since his heyday. He's no longer the beloved actor and director he once was, but rather a controversial figure who continues to face backlash for his past transgressions. Next, CeeLo Green first made his mark in the music scene in the mid-90s, but it was his 2010 breakout single F.U., which skyrocketed to the #2 spot on the Billboard charts, that truly stamped his name in the industry. His newfound fame opened doors to opportunities such as becoming a judge on The Voice and even landing his own TV show. However, his career took a nosedive following some highly inappropriate tweets concerning homophobia. As a result, Green faced serious backlash, losing his TV show, his position on The Voice, and even being turned away from his booked concert gigs. CeeLo Green has since apologized for his actions and has faced criticism for his lack of accountability. However, he's also received support from fans who believe in forgiveness and second chances. Now let's talk about public meltdowns, and who better to discuss than Charlie Sheen. This man, once a gifted actor and among the highest paid TV stars worldwide, is now largely known for his drug-fueled, very public meltdown a few years ago. Anyone remember #winning and Tiger Blood? He was kicked off 2.5 Men, where he was making nearly $2 million per episode. Many saw him as someone who'd clearly gone off the deep end after years of alcohol, and although he has done a bit of work since then, most organizations steer clear from Sheen and his outlandish behavior. Charlie Sheen's public meltdown is a prime example of how one's personal life can have a major impact on their professional career. Despite being incredibly talented and successful in his field, Sheen's actions outside of work ultimately led to his downfall. And last on our countdown, only about 10 years ago, Vince Vaughn was one of Hollywood's busiest actors, with a flourishing career. His quick wit and charisma made him a fan favorite, especially in numerous iconic comedies. However, his presence in Hollywood seems to have dwindled recently, suggesting that his prime time as an actor might be behind him. His overlooked status is subtle and seems to stem from his limited acting range and his political ideologies. Although conservatism isn't inherently problematic, advocating for guns in all schools as a countermeasure to mass shootings can make studios hesitant. His ability to shine has also been restricted to comedic roles, often in tandem with Owen Wilson, as evidenced by his stint on HBO's True Detective. Undeniably, Hollywood icon Mel Gibson has faced significant public relations challenges since his 2006 arrest for an alleged DUI. Gibson was reportedly recorded making anti-Semitic remarks during his arrest in Malibu, California, leading to widespread criticism. In response to the controversy, Gibson sought rehabilitation and expressed deep remorse for his actions. But despite these efforts, many speculated his career was irreparably damaged. His reputation suffered another blow in 2010 when he was allegedly recorded using racist language by his then partner, Oksana Grigorieva. Following the leak, Gibson faced condemnation from civil rights and anti-domestic violence organizations. However, rumors of a career resurgence began to circulate. In 2017, Gibson reappeared at the Oscars as a nominee for Best Director. Even though his name was initially omitted from the Hacksaw Ridge movie poster, later The Hollywood Reporter revealed Gibson's plans to co-write and direct a remake of The Wild Bunch and a sequel to Passion of the Christ in 2020. Despite these controversies surrounding Gibson, there is no denying his talent and success in the film industry. As an actor, director, and producer, he's played a significant role in some of cinema's most iconic films such as Braveheart, Lethal Weapon, and Mad Max. On to the next! In 2007, a notorious video emerged featuring former Baywatch actor David Hasselhoff indulging in a cheeseburger, seemingly under the influence. Hasselhoff admitted to being a recovering alcoholic in a statement and explained, as quoted by The Hollywood Reporter, that the video was recorded by his daughters as a wake-up call. Although the incident haunted Hasselhoff for years, he chose to see the lighter side of it. In a conversation with Inside Edition, he stated that his daughters found humor in the situation. In 2015, Hasselhoff decided to poke fun at the incident in his mockumentary show Hoff the Record. His subsequent works include the 2016 film Baywatch, along with The Rock, and online show named Being David Hasselhoff. Despite his successful career and popularity, David faced a major career setback when he was fired from the popular reality show America's Got Talent. Hasselhoff, who had been a judge on the show since its inception in 2006, was reportedly let go due to concerns about his erratic behavior, possibly fueled by his publicly acknowledged struggles with alcoholism. The news of his departure was initially met with surprise and disappointment by fans, who had come to appreciate his unique humor and candid critiques on the show. Next up, in the midst of the 2016 US presidential race, a shocking audio recording came to light, capturing a private conversation between then-candidate Donald Trump and TV host Billy Bush from the program Access Hollywood. On the recording, Trump controversially declared, "When you're a star, you can do anything," to which Bush seemingly concurred, responding, "Whatever you want." Trump's vulgar comments continued, including an explicit phrase about women, which was met with laughter, and tasteless remarks about women's legs by Bush. Despite the scandal, Trump went on to win the presidency, dismissing his words as mere locker room talk. Conversely, Bush faced immediate repercussions, losing his position on the Today Show. In a piece for the New York Times, Bush admitted that he didn't take Trump's words seriously at the time, perceiving them as an off-color jest. He wrote he was performing, surely he thought. None of this was real, now we know better. Bush withdrew from public view for 3 years, sharing with People magazine how he felt completely apart and struggled with resentment and anger. However, he eventually returned to the public eye in 2019, speaking candidly about his mistakes and the lessons he learned from the experience. He admitted that he should have taken a stand and condemned Trump's behavior rather than simply going along with it. That incident sparked a larger conversation about toxic masculinity and misogyny in our society. It highlighted the prevalence of locker room talk and the normalization of objectifying women. It also shed light on the unequal treatment of men and women in similar situations. While Trump faced little consequence, Bush's career was severely impacted. Now we're diving into a major controversy that rocked the world of basketball. Remember Donald Sterling, the previous owner of LA Clippers? Well, in 2014, he made some comments that cost him a lot. A tape was leaked, allegedly recorded by V. Stiviano, his rumored girlfriend, where Sterling reportedly instructed her to refrain from posting pictures with people of color on Instagram. He was quoted saying, "You can sleep with black men, bring them in, do whatever you want. All I ask is you don't promote it and don't bring them to my games." I mean, as we can all, I'm sure, assume, this led to a wave of backlash, with his team members protesting by wearing their warm-up tees out inside out, effectively hiding the team's logo. The Clippers lost numerous sponsorships, and Sterling faced strong criticism from several notable figures in the African American community, including President Barack Obama. Obama remarked, "When ignorant folks want to advertise their ignorance, you don't really have to do anything, just let them talk." That's what happened here. He expressed his faith in NBA Commissioner Adam Silver that he would handle that situation. The fallout from Sterling's comments was immense. He was forced to sell the LA Clippers for $2 billion, endured a fine of $2.5 million, and was banned for life from the NBA. As of 2017, Sterling and his wife were trying to reverse the ban. In 2016, Michael Richards, also recognized as Kramer from the hit TV show Seinfeld, was performing at the Laugh Factory when he was heckled by an audience member who happened to be of African American descent. What transpired next shocked everyone present. According to TMZ, Richards lost his cool, responding with a racially charged outburst that lasted 3 minutes, in which he shouted, "Throw him out. Look, there's a..." Richards later made a public apology on The Late Show with David Letterman, expressing remorse for his uncontrolled outburst on stage and assuring everyone he was not a racist. Sounds like something a racist would say. The incident had a significant impact on Richards, who has since then kept a low profile, reflecting on the incident years later on Jerry Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars with Coffee. Richards expressed regret over his behavior, acknowledging that he should have stayed focused on entertaining the audience rather than lashing out in anger. He admitted, "I think I worked selfishly and not selflessly. It's not about me, it's about the audience. Now that's a lesson I learned 7 years ago when I blew it in the comedy club and lost my temper." In the years following the incident, Richards has largely stayed out of the public eye, as he should. Next up, Transformers star Shia LaBeouf is no stranger to encounters with the law, but one incident in particular came at an extraordinary cost. LaBeouf's 2017 arrest in Savannah, Georgia for disorderly conduct and public intoxication brought him significant attention when a video of him hurling abuses at a police officer went viral. This resulted in a court-ordered 10-week rehab stint. The following year, in an interview with Esquire, he revealed that a series of arrests, erratic public behavior, and personal issues related to PTSD had left him marginalized in Hollywood. He said, "I'm run out. No one's giving me a shot right now." Despite these setbacks, LaBeouf remained steadfast in his determination to revive his career. His co-star from The Peanut Butter Falcon, Zachary Goetz-Sagan, was instrumental in this journey. LaBeouf recounts a conversation where Zachary, who has Down syndrome, told him, "You're already famous, this is my chance and you're ruining it." Reflecting on this, LaBeouf admitted, "To hear him say that he was disappointed in me probably changed the course of my life." He praised Goetz-Sagan's honesty, saying, "Zach can't not shoot straight and bless him for it, cause in that moment I needed a straight shooter who I couldn't argue with." LaBeouf's performance in The Peanut Butter Falcon received critical acclaim, with critics labeling it as his comeback role. Next, the golfing legend Tiger Woods found himself in the spotlight back in 2009, and not for his golf prowess, but for a scandal involving his marital life. It was reported that Ellen Nordegren, Woods' wife at the time, chased him out of their home with a golf club upon discovering his infidelity. In a leaked voicemail that emerged shortly after, Woods could be heard pleading with the woman, as reported by the New York Post, to remove her name from her phone. This was seemingly an attempt to prevent Nordegren from contacting her. Following the scandal, Woods confessed to having extramarital affairs with roughly 120 women. The fallout was immense, leading to a divorce from Nordegren, a drastic decline in his golf performance, and the loss of significant endorsements, among them Nike. Woods later sought treatment for sex addiction. 10 years would pass before Woods would clinch another major championship, winning the Masters in 2019. Tiger Woods is widely recognized as one of the greatest golfers in history, with numerous major championship wins under his belt. However, his reputation took a hit with that infidelity news. The scandal rocked the sports world and brought attention to the issue of extramarital affairs among athletes. In 1998, a huge controversy swept the nation when Monica Lewinsky, former White House intern, found herself at the heart of a scandal. Her ex-friend Linda Tripp had secretly recorded their private calls and handed these tapes over to the FBI. These recordings suggested that Lewinsky had been involved in an affair with the then President Bill Clinton, sparking a media storm that left a lasting impact on Lewinsky's career, but obviously not Clinton's. Christian Bale, the renowned actor, found himself in a precarious situation during the filming of Terminator Salvation. A leaked recording captured him in a heated argument with the film's director of photography, who had unintentionally intruded on a scene. Bale, lost in a tirade of expletives, demanded the DP to be dismissed from the set. Following the leak, the actor issued a public apology on LA's K-Rock radio station, admitting his behavior was unjustifiable and acknowledging that he had behaved poorly. Bale explained that his outburst resulted from being deeply committed to his character, having blurred the lines between reality and fiction. However, his sister expressed concern about his behavior, referencing a previous incident where he had a similar outburst in front of her family. While Bale continues to feature in critically acclaimed films. Such incidents have raised eyebrows and led to speculation about his future in the industry. Okay, in an episode of her podcast, Broad Ideas, Rachel shares a deeply personal story about a recent professional setback she faced. She opens up about a peculiar circumstance where her candid conversation about her private life, specifically aspects of her sex life, led to an unexpected job loss. Surprisingly, this open and honest dialogue about sex resulted in her losing a job she had already secured. She described that as the first time she encountered such a situation in her professional career.